Sherry Papani would go missing in November of 2016. Investigators who were working on her disappearance could not help but go back 18 years prior to another girl who went missing. Her name was Tera Smith. The reason being was that their disappearances shared similarities. They both went to the same high school in the 1990s. They both were pretty, they both were blonde, and they both disappeared around Old Oregon Trail, which was not far from either of their homes. Sherry would return after a couple weeks on November of 2016. After her return, she would actually go and have dinner with the Smiths family. It would be discovered that Sherry had faked her entire disappearance and was staying at her ex-boyfriend's house before returning on Thanksgiving. This would lead to her arrest, and Sherry would serve 18 months in prison. After the hoax came to light, the Smith family would eventually state that she had to be sick to come up with the story and hurt herself the way she did. She's just not right. Sierra, who was Tara's sister, would state that she would love to say that it wasn't upsetting and that to have so much compassion, but she can't because it was so upsetting. Sherry Papini and Tera Smith's disappearances shared similarities, but their difference is that Tera Smith never returned home. Tera Smith was the eldest of four siblings, and she attended Central Valley High School. She was a talented writer with a love for poetry and had a deep spiritual side. Marilyn Smith would state that her daughter loved horses, basketball, and nature, and that her freshman year of high school that she won homecoming queen and wrestling champ. Tera Smith would also work at the family-owned Sun Oasis Center, which is where people went to do mini golf and laser tag and other fun things. Terry Smith, who was her father, would state that Tara got interested in Taekwondo due to its connection to the earth, and all of that stuff just really appealed to her. On the evening of August 22nd of 1988, Tara would miss her shift at the Oasis Fun Center. Marilyn Smith would then call the house phone, and her youngest daughter, Sierra, would answer the phone. She would tell her mother that Tara had gone jogging and told her that she would be back in 20 minutes, but she hadn't returned yet. After hearing that information, Marilyn would then return home to search the roads that she thought Tara would be jogging on, but she couldn't find her. The night that Tara went jogging, she was not supposed to leave her house. She was grounded. Sierra Smith, who was 11 at the time, recalls that her parents always told them to never go outside alone at night. Sierra would try to tell Tara this that night, but Tara assured her that she would return home before their parents did. Sierra remembers watching Tara jog out of her line of sight. Tyra Smith, the middle Smith sibling, expressed that she was at her best friend's birthday party when she received a phone call from her parents telling her that she needed to go to work since Tara hadn't shown up. Tyra expressed that she was upset with that fact, but acknowledged that Tara never missed work. She stated that it had never happened before, so I was frustrated until it turned real, until we realized she might not be coming back. The Smith family would call up all of Tara's friends in order to figure out where she was. One of Tara's friends would eventually tell her parents that they believed that Tara was having an inappropriate relationship with her married Taekwondo instructor. His name was Troy Zink, and he was 29 years old at the time. With this information, the Smiths would then contact the police. Terry and Marilyn would then drive to Troy's house at 9 p.m. the night of Tara's disappearance to ask him about the whereabouts of Tara, but when they arrived, Troy's wife would state that he was not at home. Troy would then get in contact with the Smith family at about 11 o'clock p.m. that night. He would state that he had nothing to do with the disappearance of Tara, and he would state that he picked Tara up from the family house and that he dropped her off about a half a mile, 2 miles, to 3 miles away from the family home, and then he himself went to Hang Glider Hill, which was a local hill, and he went there for 5 hours to pray. Kyra, who was Tara's sister, would state that she did find it a little weird that Tara did talk about her Taekwondo instructor from time to time, but she stated that she thought it was nothing more than a teacher-mentor relationship. With the Smith family having no leads and no idea where their daughter was, they had nowhere else to turn, and they decided to look inside Tara's room in order to find any clues to where she might be. In doing so, the family would discover a long letter that she had written that they believed that she was either going to hand to Troy or to mail to him. After reading the contents of the letter, the family believes that on August 22nd of 1998 that Tara had decided that she was going to go out and break up with Troy in person. The family believes that she thought it was a good idea at first to write it down and she was going to hand it to him and going to mail it to him, but then she decided to opt out and just do it in person, and that's exactly what she did that evening. During the investigation, officers would search Troy's Taekwondo studio and discover several old sporting rifles and a shotgun in the attic. Troy would claim those were his grandfather's since he used the attic for storage. Unfortunately for Troy, he was not allowed to have a gun on his property or on his person due to the fact that he was a felon. In 1992, Troy was convicted of spousal rape. Troy expressed that he did have sex with his ex-wife while saying he wanted to unalive himself, but denies ever forcing his ex-wife to have sex with him at knife point. Troy would then be charged with possession of a firearm by a felon. During this time, he would be interviewed by police and he would give his side of the story. He would state that he had nothing to do with the disappearance of Terra. He would state that he would get a phone call from Terra while he was at work, stating that Terra wanted to see him, and he agreed. When he arrived at the Smith residence, Terra was already at the driveway. She would lean into the car and ask Troy for $2,000. Troy stated that he did not have that kind of money. Then he asked Tera what she wanted to do with that $2,000, and he stated that when he did, she got upset. Tera would then ask Troy for a ride, and he would agree to that. Troy would then proceed to give her a ride and then drop her off at Old Oregon Trail, where she would jog off and he would go to Hangglider Hill to pray. Troy would then be convicted of possession of a firearm by a felon, and he would be sentenced to 4 years. He would then appeal this because he said that he did not receive a fair trial in the wake of the coverage of Tera's disappearance, but his appeal would be denied. Even though Troy was extensively interviewed by police, he was never officially named a person of interest in Tera's disappearance. To this date, there have been no new arrests or person of interest in connection to her disappearance. Terry, her father, believed that investigators gave it their all for the first 6 months, and then the case was also still important for another year or two, but now it's shelved. It's cold, stone cold. Terry and Marilyn both discussed how they felt after Tera disappeared. Marilyn held out hope that Tera would return home someday. Terry Smith stated that he had a feeling that Tera was gone within the first 48 hours of her disappearance. She stated that it never felt like we properly mourned or grieved her in some ways because for so many months we hoped that she would come back. It was a gradual process realizing that she was gone. I think Marilyn held out hope longer than I did. I was convinced that she was gone from almost the get-go. The Smith children did not participate in the search for Tara, and Kyra believes that the reason why they did this and her parents did this was in order to protect the children from the ugliness of the world at such a young age. Terry has stated that his other 3 children have all grown up, gotten married, and had children, and now him and Marilyn are grandparents. Terry stated that the painful truth is that he will never see Tara grow up into adulthood, and that sometimes it's hard for him to even remember her smile or her voice. He states that the memories are fading and that he hates that. The Smith family at this point has accepted that Tara is probably no longer alive, but they still want justice. They state that they know that there are several cold cases that don't get solved out there, but they are hoping that this case is not one of them. They state that they want justice because they don't want a person who is capable of such things to just be out there living their lives. Tera Smith's disappearance is still an ongoing case, and officers work with new leads and any information that come in. Police still have hope in this case, and they believe that someone out there knows what happened to her and that one day her case will be solved. No trace of Tera Smith has ever been found, nor any evidence that would indicate whatever happened to her. And that is the end of today's video. If you liked today's video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, be safe, Earthlings. Peace out.